What's going on, y'all? And welcome to the after discussion for OWN's scripted reality TV show, All the Single Ladies. And you know how we do over here. This is season 1, episode 8, Sexual Awakenings. You know the drill. Share this with a friend, grab a girlfriend, get your glass of wine, and let's talk about it. Stay tuned. Woo, soul level connections, intimacy, pain, anger, sex. I mean, this episode was full of it. And you know, I don't roll solo. So before we dive into the after discussion for episode 8 of All the Single Ladies, titled Sexual Awakenings, I'm going to invite my guest to the stage. You guys have seen her from the Bad Boys episode. So welcome, Drea.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
How are you? Hi. Thanks for having me.
Good. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. There we go. Have to get us up in there. Right. I'm so glad you can make it. Oh, perfect. And we have another guest with us. So we might as well just bring her on. And she was on the Raised by Religion episode.
Oh,
so
that was a good episode.
Yes, that was a good episode. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about that now because we didn't see the church. Got people confused. No. All right, let's welcome Salani.
Hello.
Hey, lady.
Hi.
Have you guys met before?
No,
I haven't. Hi.
There we go. Drea Salani, Salani Drea episode. The Bad Boy meets Raised by Religion.
Yeah.
So I love this episode. Oh my God. Drea, did you have a chance to see the episode?
I did.
Okay, so what did you think about it just overall, what you were seeing and hearing?
Just like with most of the episodes, like I always find so much relation to my own life of just like micromanaging men in certain situations, like, hey, we're going to do this. I'm going to put all my energy into you. And then also staying in toxic relationships, like the woman, I think D'Lo, I think she said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
D'Lo, yeah. I mean, I really related to so many things that these women said. It was a great ending episode. It was really great.
Yeah, I thought so too. I feel like the way they wrapped everything up, like, first of all, shout out to the producers for doing a great job for taking all of y'all's stories and being able to like section them off into titled episodes that we're able to follow. But I'm seeing some of these through lines and we're going to talk about it. I'm seeing some of these through lines. It was interesting. Something that stood out to me about this episode was the anger. Like Mamie was about to kill this man. And I
and Mamie don't even come off like that at first. And then you're like, oh.
Yeah, she's a silent killer. She looks all good, humble, happy. Met him at a little Harlem party. And she's just like, I had to move because it was going to be me or him.
I've been there.
Yeah. Look, Ronnie's like, what did I just right. What did I just get into? But okay, so these ladies, where do I begin? So one of the first things I noticed with the woman Day, right? And actually with Ayo also. They weren't she was lit. It made a lot of sense. But it's like, you know, you have relationships and you're not like studying these men or women or people that you're supposed to be with. It's like whatever. But I feel like once something like religion or purpose is put into that mix, you start to be like, oh my God, this is the one. This is my person. It's just hitting you on such a deep level. And now it's a thing. So what do you guys think? I'll start with Day because she had a situation where she was raised in the church. She said her parents were holy, sanctified. Her mom couldn't wear jeans. Her dad was a pastor, the whole nine. So she was raised like that. How do you guys feel like the church does a disservice to the community by not having these conversations about sexuality and sex and being sexy and being together? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Wow.
You
can go first. I don't mind.
My thoughts on it is that it causes a lot of suppression for later in life.
Exactly.
And I feel like these things they will come out. So whatever you're just trying to suppress and whatever you're trying to like hide, you know what they say, whatever you resist persists.
Yes.
And so I feel like you end up just white knuckling it through life. And then later it just comes out completely sideways. So if you're not allowing people to sort of like get familiar with these urges or these thoughts, or even making them comfortable to have the conversations, they're going to go, get on social media or end up having some secret lifestyle, and that's sort of how it's coming out in the end, is that people aren't being able to be true to themselves, and they're living these like double lives. Or the other thing is too, is like, if somebody's in the church, you just assume that they are holier than thou and they have it all together, and they don't. I've gone on a date with a guy and I'm like, oh, he goes to church. Turns out he was an alcoholic the whole time. But I was like, he's a man of Jesus. You know what I mean? Yes. You could be a man of Jesus with a bottle. Like, the two things can go together. So I think this idea of not allowing people to be human, and that you have to be perfect in the eyes of God, and not allowing for the, like I said, to be human is definitely doing a disservice to people.
Oh, I agree. I agree with everything you said. I'm piggybacking off of it.
Yes.
I feel the exact same way. I feel like the suppression, it makes you, I don't know, there's a lot, the secrecy and the like having to hide creates some sort of energy. It just creates like this sort of like, I don't know, people like doing things in the dark. People like doing things sneaky. I mean, maybe they do or they don't, but I just know it makes it amplified. And instead of just allowing people to be themselves, they're literally having to secretly go around. I know most of the girls that I talk to or like messed around with when I was little were at church. So just saying. And at all the church camps and all that stuff, the girls were trying to like hump everybody. Sorry, guys. I know that's really off the chain, but like, it's real.
But it's real. It's real. That's the thing. It's real though.
Because we couldn't talk about it. We're like, we don't know what humping is. Okay, let's play doctor. Like, it's a thing. I wish that would have been more of a conversation, because I was asking questions like, well, why would I burn in hell? Or why would I, why can't I kiss this person? Or why don't, there was no, because I said so, because God said so. It's never like a, real answer. So I'm over here just discovering. I'm like a little discoverer. I'm like, okay, let me go figure it out.
Yeah.
And is that the answer? Is that the answer for us to keep it hidden?
No.
And just go be with your, and that's the thing. It's like, I know for my family, it's like, don't talk about that.
Yeah. Don't talk about it.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah. That's insane. The whole don't talk about it. So how do you guys navigate your spirituality now? And how do you, what do I want to say? How do you invite the necessary conversations in, but still maintain your spirituality if you've decided to, remain with the church or remain Christian? Are you guys people that are okay and comfortable with having these forward, discussions? Or what do you think? Do you think things are more open now, or what?
I'm probably the devil, because they're going to be like, you're evil. I'm really not a big church person. I respect the church. I respect my mom. I respect her beliefs. I believe in God. I'm very spiritual. I will go to church if it's something happening or a funeral, unfortunately. But I'm really not a church person. But in terms of people that are in the church, or that my dogs are going crazy. I'm sorry. As far as people in the church or just in that avenue, I am very honest and kind of controversial a little bit. Just because I'm not disrespectful, but I'm very comfortable with the fact that I have a girlfriend, or that I date women, and that it's all about love, or, I'm just a little bit more open now. I think it's necessary. I also have a son, and I'm very open with him about just being a good human, being a good person. Stop judging people for what they're doing behind, some things behind scenes need to get judged, but if you love somebody, because people are going to take that and try to twist it and be like, right. Oh, but I think it's important to just be a good person. Be not like, you can be Christian and still be an asshole. Like, there's people that are just
Absolutely.
there's a lot of bad people everywhere. And we have to stop treating people like there's, on this high horse because of their religion or they're at a church. I've gotten a lot of slack and disrespect and treatment from the church and people in the church, worse than just out in the street. So it's definitely left a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, but counseling helps,
that part. Gotta do what you gotta do.
I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I think I have nieces and nephews, and I think this idea of not having these conversations has a lot of backlash later in life. And I mean, I'm lucky that we are now in a generation where talking about mental health, talking about things that you don't want to say is more prevalent. Like, the old school people, my grandma, my great grandma, of not talking about it. I see the damage that it's done to my mom and my father. And it's like, they want to go there, but it's so confronting that they can't. So now with my nieces and my nephew, I encourage them, let's have those conversations. What's making you uncomfortable? And also, if you do hear something that maybe isn't right, like my 16-year-old niece did something where I wanted to wring her neck, but I want her also to feel safe to still tell me the story. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you have to sort of balance that, especially like you're a parent, of like wanting to hear the information and maintaining the respect. Because I don't want her to go, like my sister passed away, so I don't want her to like go to somebody else, you know, and go to her friends. Like I want her to say, I can go to Auntie Drea and have these hard conversations. And I also wanted to say, I'm interested to see what that will look like later. Let's say 10, 20 years of us saying, hey, how do you feel? Let's talk about it. You know, whatever you're thinking, let's have a dialogue, like what that will look like for the next generation.
Yeah, dope. Real.
Yeah, I love that. I love what both of you guys said. And I'm new. I just gained a nephew last week, and I have a niece. Yeah, thank you. And so I'm hoping I could be the same. I actually am someone, Solani, you're not the devil. I am, you know, I was raised Christian and, you know, all of these things, but I actually chose January of last year to step away because of the confusion and so much shame and guilt that came with so much. And of course I respect it. I mean, Jesus is amazing. The parables, the stories of this, it's not that. It's just, I feel like I have a new set of eyes and a different set of ears. And I needed to understand more about the totality of things that was going on so that I could live the life that I feel like God has actually designed for me without all the judging, like I can't breathe in a box. You know what I mean? Like you know, Drea, just like you said, your grandparents didn't talk about it and your parents didn't get it. So that means you didn't get it until you got it. And I'm just seeing so much of that. And it makes me wonder, would we have done better and made better choices if we were having more open conversation and guidance? Or do you think we would still be hard-headed and a lot of this stuff we would still be having to figure out?
You never know. You'll never know.
Right. Never know. Because I do think there's something to be said for something that really doesn't change in generations that I've seen is that hard head phase of like, I know what I'm doing. I got it. Or being 16, 15 and you're in love and he's your everything. I feel like that is something that's just sort of there because you could not have told me when I was 16, I was getting married. This is my man. Mom, you don't understand. You know what I mean? But it's like now, you know, I see my 6-year-old niece. I'm like, okay, girl, that's whatever you need to do to get through your day. That's fine. You know, but she has to go through her own process. But I do think being able to have those difficult conversations may lead to some better choices where, you know, like the conversations you were having on this show maybe won't be as prevalent. But I think you're going to go through hiccups in your life no matter what.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now, Dre, you were on the Bad Boy episode, and yes, that reminded me, we talked about you when we did the after discussion, and we were just like, what is that thing where we always have to like, we can have something great and amazing. It's like, look at this fruit basket. It's amazing. Everything's perfect. And you're like, but chips and sugar. Like, I want that. Like, that looks like it'll give me some cavities and diabetes. Let's do that.
That's hilarious.
You know, so it's like, where do you guys think that thing comes from? Because Drea, I have all my little notes. I know you shared how, you know, you had that moment, you know, where you were waiting for your father at some point when he wasn't around, and it was kind of like, okay, you know, he's not coming, like you're not worth it. And sometimes I think just that little vibration, it like activates or something. It's like, I need more of that. Like, what do you think that it's almost like an addiction? What do you think that strange addiction is that we get to want to continue to explore something that is so much more negative than to just chill out with the positive?
I think a lot of it has to do with modeling what you see around you, right? So I was thinking about this the other day. If there's any couples in my family that are happy and healthy that I got to see growing up, that were role models for me, and that was not the case. What I always saw was love is hard, and you got to struggle, and you got to work to get it. And then when you get it, you can be happy, but you got to go through all the tribulations to get there. And so when something was presented to me as this full, whole, nice, healthy package, my brain was like, ew. No. Like, no, I can't do that. Like, like, why are
It's
you
not
calling me?
real.
Why do you want to get married?
No.
Why aren't we fighting and I'm throwing your clothes out? And he did not come from that place. His modeling was, you stay together, you get married, that's what you do. And I was like, I gotta go wild out and sow my oats,
Mhm.
you know? And then when I met the guy who was doing the thing that my father did, I'm like, ooh, this is familiar. This is what I know. And you don't always know. It's like subconscious. It's something that draws you to people, and intellectually you know this is wrong, this is not right, but there's something so familiar about it because it gets ingrained in you at like 7 years old or whatever it is. These seeds get planted, and your unconscious mind is making these choices for you. So now I still struggle with this today. Somebody comes and they're healthy, I still, I'm like, you want to date me? Like, why? You know, I still struggle with that today. And even through that discomfort, I know that these are better choices, but it does not always feel comfortable. And that toxic, not calling you, that struggle, like that still sometimes feels like that's the way. Even though I know it's not, I'll still be drawn to that guy or that person or whatever, just because, you know, my dad is not evolved emotionally. He still acts like a 7-year-old. And so I've accepted that as a 40-year-old woman. I'm like, my dad is who he is. But it's like, I don't have to engage with him the same way. I accept who he is. And so now I try not to, like I said on the show, not blame my father for my choices anymore. Because now the awareness is there, right? So you can't really like keep using that as an excuse. And so back to what we were saying earlier about like being able to have these conversations now and have the awareness, it is helping me make different choices and deal with my father, who does not want to have anything to do with emotionally evolving himself. So
Man.
Deep.
Yeah.
I resonate with that.
Yeah, that's intense. Salani, tell me about it. Like, do you feel like you have perpetuated some of the things that you grew up with, maybe coming from your mom or your dad, that had you choosing partners based on
Oh,
more
100%.
trauma instead of,
Oh,
yeah.
100%. I mean, I grew up in trauma. I feel like it's just keeps getting passed down, but I'm stopping that. Yeah, like my dad leaving at an early age. He was in prison, you know, when I was 2 or something. So I really didn't know him very well. And then my mom got remarried. Stepdad was cool. I saw their relationship, but I just, you know, I saw a lot, like I didn't get a lot of certain types of attention. So I was like kind of, my brother was like taking up a lot of the time with all of his drama. So it just created a void. And I just felt like I was like not good enough, or like, why wasn't I not, you know, there's all these little things. It did help me in sense because I became really funny. And, you know, a lot of funny people came from trauma. So like either I was trying to avoid getting in trouble, or I was trying to make everybody laugh because it was, the energy in the house was weird, or I wanted to like, you know, change the direction of what the conversation was happening. So I recognize that. Modeling in terms of relationships, yeah, I picked some really terrible partners up in the beginning. I was dating all kinds of random people and was like, why am I dealing with this? Why am I putting up with this BS? It's like, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's because that's how I was treated, or that what happened, you know. Therapy helped me like break it all down, but it definitely plays a role, and the communication and awareness and all those things are so important. I talk to my son about literally everything. Toxic, red flags, all that, everything.
That is so good. And how old is he? Like 15?
He's 18.
18.
He's 18.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Wow.
He grown.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got a grown one.
Yeah, he's grown. He just had a breakup and he's processing his stuff. But I'm very open in this house. Myself, my girlfriend, like we sit and we talk to him about all the different options and what's going on, and just, you know, so he's getting it.
That is amazing. So I commend you for that, whatever they want to call it, these conscious parenting and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Trying, girl, trying.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that, because you know what matters. Actually, we have a similar story. I was kind of like that. You know, I did grow up with both my parents in the household, and they were together for like 27 years. But it was that thing, you know, my sister, she struggled with addiction. The other one was the baby. And I was smart and independent. So it was just like, she good. And it was just like, well, wait, no, like, I need to talk to somebody. I don't understand, you know. So it left me not only in a space of feeling like, oh, she has it all together. So I'm like, well, I have it all together.
Yeah.
I can't have problems or questions. I'm supposed to know, you know. And then just going through that whole thing where you're like choosing people who, it's still, even though my parents were there, it's still that weird kind of like proving yourself or abandonment issue that comes from, or not being enough. Cause it's like, okay, I'm either getting in trouble because I'm different, or, you know, I'm doing really well and now I'm seen and all this. So it's like, I either got to play up, you know, I was always funny too, had a lot of friends, class clown, always kicking it, whatever it was. but then also just being like, okay, I have to be really good and this has to be great because, or else I'm not going to be seen type of a deal. So I completely understand all that energy, and the awareness therapy brings, and just the way we're conversing now, even amongst social media. I'm just so proud of us because I think everything's going to change with us. Like our parents didn't really get it. And there's even, I'll show my mom things and she's like, oh, and that's cool. But it's like our kids and nieces and nephews are going to get it.
Exactly.
Sure. And I love that for them. So staying on the nice guy, bad boy thing, I was thinking of Mamie. So she was out at this party in Harlem and she meets this guy. Yeah. And this guy gives her a card and this other man, Harry, he comes up and he rips the card up. And I was just like, you know what? I'm attracted to that. I'm like,
why am I? Yes. I actually thought the same thing. I was like, oh, okay.
You like me? You don't want nobody else to talk to me, boy? Like, and it made me think, what is that thing? Because there's like nice guys, and I guess he would be considered the bad boy, but what's the nuance to that? Like, that's not really that bad to me. Or am I still stuck in that? Because to me, it's just like, nah, he's trying to talk to me.
You know, I have some interesting thoughts about that. I do a podcast with a friend of mine, and we talk about male and female dynamics, right? Mm-hmm. And so
She must have gone. Yeah, I probably got a phone call. No, you're good.
So I am definitely an alpha female, like 100%, right? And but I do like when a man comes in and sort of commands things, because I'm definitely not the woman who's like, yes, whatever you say, okay. Like, if you're gonna do that to me, you got to show up a certain way. So I have had men kind of come in like, Drea, we're not doing that, and I'm like,
okay, then we're not doing it.
But you know, but normally I'm the one who's taking the reins. Like, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. This is what's going to happen. And that's it, you know? So it's funny when I saw that, with her, the ripping up, I kind of had the same thought. I was like, oh, that's kind of hot.
Yeah. I was like, I kind of like that. Like, I get it. Like, if that's what bad boys do, then I guess that's where I'm at with it.
Call me a girl who likes the bad ones.
I know. And it's funny, you know, I think people assume that I'm kind of like an alpha, but I govern my own life. I am a single woman and I am 40 as well. It's like I've been at this, the bills, everything I got. Yeah, what's going on? This is all me. So,
girl, yes. Hello.
Yeah, this is all me. So I might come off as like boss this, all this and that. But really, I like a man that can take charge. Like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening here? Please let me know, because it speaks to the polarity of things. And I can ask Solani when she comes back on, like, what the polarity she finds, especially because she's dating women. But I need the polarity. And so I think that that's what that offers. It's kind of like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm here. And he's like, no, I'm talking to you. You're not going to talk to them. I want you. And that gives me that, like, oh, okay. So you're letting me know what we're doing here. And I love it.
But I think for women like you and me, that have our stuff together, that are of a particular age, sometimes men they're just either intimidated or they feel like they can't come in and still have that masculine energy with women like us. And I'm over here going, no, like, you can. I'm not going to give you permission. You just do it, and then we'll see what happens, right? I mean, I'm not going to tell you you can be a man. You just do it, and then we'll see how it goes. Because any man that can put me in my feminine energy, I applaud you. I'm here for it. But you need to come out the gate being like, Drea, this is what's up. I don't want to be like, yeah, you go ahead and take it. Just take it. Rip up the paper.
Yeah, like, it's a leading thing. You know, I was reading the book, and I'm actually going to do a conversation on this later this week, The Way of the Superior Man. And it talks about it. It's like, if a man doesn't come in with that masculine energy, then your woman is going to start to be her own man. And when I look at society and what people are complaining about and all of these things, women are so masculine and I'm like, wow. But you know what law says, right? This is just simply polarity. So if you're not going to do it, it has to be done.
It has to be done. And so many men these days, I feel like, want to be courted in some way. where like they are just wanting us to do everything. And this has just been my like recent dating experience of simply picking the restaurant or making the plans. And women are kind of having to come into this area and say, okay, I guess we're meeting here. I guess we're going this place. I guess we're doing this. And they're just sitting there. I'm like, am I bringing you flowers too? Like, am I opening your door? Like, what is going on here? You know, it's like this interesting energy of everyone complaining about, oh, the women are too this, but y'all, not all of y'all are stepping up either. So I don't really know what you want me to do. Like,
yeah,
now
I'm over here manning, like, and it's just the way it goes. And I'm seeing that so much. Yeah, in these relationships, and how, you know, for example, I feel like with, you know, D-Lo or even Mamie, like,
I was gonna say D-Lo,
yeah, having to really explain, this is what we're doing, or what are we doing, or where are we going, and allowing somebody to like treat her a certain way and not leave. Like, you're just constantly looking for that moment. Like, are we doing this or not? Are we together or not? The situationship thing isn't working. So you're kind of sticking around like, so, okay, we're doing all the things, we're having the sex, we're going on dates, I didn't met your family, but we can't talk about a relationship. I'm so
right.
confused.
We can't talk about our future. I mean, let's do all the things. Let's call it a duck, but it's a monkey. Like, it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, you know, but we're going to call it something else. You're like, okay. But even with Ayo, I think that's how you say Ayo. Is that how you say her name? Ayo?
Ayo. Mm-hmm.
Ayo. She talked about motivating the guy when he said, this is the career I want. So she's like, okay, let's get it. Let's do it. You know, and I so relate to that energy of being like that, of being like, okay, babe, this is what you want to do. We're going to get it. We're going to go, you know, just giving him all the energy and not ever needing it to come back to me, you know, and then what ends up happening to her for doing that.
Yeah, I knew she was a Capricorn when there was something about her. I was like, I knew she was a Capricorn woman.
Yeah,
because she was ready. But that's the thing, her and that guy seem misaligned, and it kind of brings me to one of my next points. Like, it was almost really clear when you tell the story. It's clear when you look in retrospect. It's clear. It's like, y'all are not aligned. He is not the guy that you need, and you're not the woman that he needs. He wants to move like a turtle, and you are rabbit fast. So
okay,
there's always going to be this thing that's unsatisfying to both of you. He's going to feel pushed, and you're not going to feel enough. What is it that makes us stay? Every woman here stayed. I feel like every woman in all these pages, we stay so long.
Why we do it.
Trying to make it work. We got to be the ride or die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What is that?
Where
do we get that? Is it just these ideas and notions, or are we wired to, like, I don't know what that is.
Some of it's wiring, I think, for sure. I think it's wiring. I know at certain points for me, it was sexual things, because like, I don't have casual sex. So there was a part of me that's like, I've already opened up myself to this person in this way. I do not want to see another penis in my life, or, you know, you know what I mean? Like, that's definitely been a reason. I'm like, I am not in the mood. I'm really not. So we just go figure this out. Okay.
That's funny.
Great point.
Yeah.
The sexual awakenings.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about you, Salani? What makes you stay past the expiration date?
I think I was just dumb. Like, I was just naive. It was naivety, maybe self-worth. Maybe I just felt that, you know, I really had, like, you know, not feeling loved and accepted, even if it was in my mind growing up. I think I just really wanted that, like, love and acceptance and family. So I would just be like, I'm going to try hard, and we're going to make it work, and I'm going to just do this. And you're crazy. Okay, let me just figure this out. And then, no. Yeah.
Never anything to figure out.
No. But I did figure it out. I mean, thank God I was a lot younger. And so, you know, I mean, being 19 when my situation happened, I was young too. I was very young, and I was a baby. Like, I was like just trying to figure it all out. And I think a lot of the guilt, it was guilt. It was all kinds of weird things that I don't even think made sense to me at the time, you know, but I think now I'm a little bit more aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. That awareness is everything. Yeah. Me too. I was, the hardest situation that I had to deal with, I was in my 19 and early 20s, but it really messes you up. And those are still your formative years. And it just puts you in a really weird place. Like, I really feel like, I don't want to say I got off on the wrong foot because just like most of the ladies on the show, most of us are like, but it made me who I am today, and for that,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my last relationship for sure. I know it was some financial things happening that it kept me a little longer in COVID. So
That'll do it.
I
That'll do
couldn't
it.
I was like, oh, my son is graduating and he needs to pay for these things. And I was like, oh shit, like how am I going to
Park
finesse
it
this
right here for a little bit.
in a nice way? I was like, oh, and it wasn't just like I'm not even like that type of person. But when you're in a situation where somebody uses money, like, oh, I'm gonna pay all this stuff and don't work, go to school, do all these things. So I was in a funky position because I was like, oh, I'll stop and I'll go to school, and then I'm like, oh, but I need to leave. And I'm not working right now. So I had to like,
Oh, that's tough.
yeah, and then COVID happened. I was like, oh, this is so great. Thank God for unemployment. Goodbye. I'm just like,
Yeah. Give me my little segue on
girl.
that joint.
Bye. I was like, okay, bye. But yeah, you stay for weird reasons, and then you're like, what was I thinking? But yeah.
Wasn't, yeah. Ladies, I
Yeah,
unfortunately have to jump off because I
Me
have to go to
too.
work.
That's right.
Yeah, I have to jump off. But I would love to come back if you do this again. Like, this has been so much fun and so amazing. It's been wonderful chatting with both of you.
You too.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Drea. I'll definitely hit you up again.
Yes, please. I will definitely come back on.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I think I got like a couple of minutes on my battery. I feel bad. It'll just cut out. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's perfect. This one was pretty straightforward. It was a really fun episode. The sexual awakenings.
Yeah.
Really, the main part was just really identifying what was catching these ladies and making it such a soul connection.
Right.
I was seeing it's that purpose and the church. You know, when you start messing with people's spirituality in a particular way, you get entangled. And this man had her soul.
Entanglement.
Yeah, and this is, there was a lot of these men manipulating the, these just manipulative and things like that, making their self-worth and all of that. So I think that type of thing, that type of trauma, we realize what we're doing, we get into it, but then we start growing and we're like, yeah, nah, this ain't me anymore.
Exactly.
Like, this feels like abuse, so I'm out.
I'm out.
But yeah, this was really good. Let's see. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I covered that. The whole this is how it's supposed to be. Lord have mercy.
Girl.
Well, this stops with us. Thank goodness.
Okay, exactly. This is the end. I'm done.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this was the last episode. I think some of us and the ladies, we had such a good time talking about everything that we'll all probably come back for more conversations. So I'd love to bring you back on a panel.
Do it. I'll be charged. I'll be battery charged next time.
Yeah, of course. No worries. This was a little short notice, but it was fun nonetheless. And
thank
just
you
before you go, yeah, we could tell people where to find you online. I can see it right here.
Milani Thomas 1. I mean, it's spelled crazy. You guys already know my name is pretty. I have another page, but nobody cares. We'll just go with that.
But this is the one.
This is the one that's
and you guys
adding people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go follow, and you guys already know the drill. If you like this, please like the video, comment, share your stories and your comments, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.